Was it Kershaw? Is that who you're talking about?
Nick Kershaw.
Hey.
Hey, Brakken.
Hiya.
How are you guys doing?
Nice shoes.
Thank you.
Mark was just telling us how he's from the streets of London, is what he was telling us, and that he's got the underground English accent.
Yeah, the accent
The dirty one.
might need some translating.
We'll have closed captioning.
I just slow down because I tend to talk fast, so I slow talking down. It'd be good.
Well, we made it through Chris Shipley, so we'll try to make it through yours as well.
Yeah, Chris is good fun.
Yeah, he spoke highly of you.
Mark, you know you're in rare presence because Brakken's had himself a week. Brakken's had the worst week ever, yet here he is recording with us today. Isn't that right, Brakken?
Not the worst week ever. Just a rough week for me.
What's happened?
Oh.
What's
happened,
car
Brakken?
trouble, appliance trouble, squirrels moved into our house. A whole bunch of nonsense. I've been fighting it on all fronts this week.
It always comes at once, doesn't it? If it's going to happen, it's a good test.
But here we are.
I rarely tell Brakken, I rarely tell him, Mark, I say, listen, I'll interview Mark today if you need to take care of life stuff. Brakken hasn't missed an episode for any reason. That's how underwater he is. But glad you're here, man. So aside from Brakken's storm cloud over his head, so you've had the opposite. You've had rainbows, butterflies, and sunshines over your head lately, from what I understand. We'll get into all that today. But where are you coming to us from right now? Where do you live?
Bromley in South London.
Is that you're like within the city limits of London, so to speak?
Yeah,
one of these suburbs, as they would say, or where exactly?
It's a suburb. It's London Borough, but it's not central. It's slightly out, sort of thing, where it comes under South London.
Okay. And Brakken, how did this conversation come to be?
Chris Shipley reached out and he said, "Hey, you ever need to talk to someone else with an accent, this is the man you need to talk to." And I think in his words, you're what did he say? A proper South London geezer, a bit of a prick, but a great guy. I think those are his exact words.
Yeah, Chris hates me as well as loves me, really.
That's what he said. He said, it'll come up that I say I hate him all the time, but I have nothing but the most respect for him.
Yeah, he's a good guy, Chris, but he does say quite a lot. Even our last training session, he smiles to me, but he's going past someone else, and he's just saying he's a prick. He's a prick as he's running past them and just basically digging me out because I was working him too hard.
So with a glowing review like that, how could we pass it up?
Great stuff. Yeah, I'd have to thank him. But yeah, he's a good guy, Chris. I've trained with him and raced with him for quite a few years now. So
yeah, so back in the day, he and I worked together on training, and then he came on the podcast and then used us up and went his own way. But we keep in touch from time to time.
Yeah, I listened to that podcast. It was a good one.
Okay.
He's done some crazy stuff. He really has.
Yeah.
Well, the listeners are probably a little curious. So we interviewed Chris Shipley. This was, I don't know how long ago. And wasn't he ran the perimeter of the UK, or what did he do exactly? But we had a podcast about that, and he had very many adventures along the way. Was that his feat that we had followed him up with?
Yeah, he ran the whole coast of the UK, just sort of staying in tents and staying in people's gardens and on their sofas. I doubt he even washed for the whole time as well. So
I don't think that's that different for him.
No. Yeah, it's probably about standard for Chris, but yeah, no, it's an amazing thing. I don't think I could handle the solitude of just going that long. But fair play, you got it done.
Yeah, and you've done something sort of notable, which kind of brought us together today. Recently, you won the Great Wall of China Marathon, which I started looking at pictures and video. This is no simple task. And then I went into your profile on social media and saw you have OCR WC championships, and you've done high rocks, and now you're out here winning the Great Wall Marathon, which we have to get into. So there's plenty of things we have to talk to you about today, which we're excited to get into. Are you a guy that does it all? Like, do you do many different things, wear lots of hats in the endurance space?
Not really. I'm pretty new to it all. I've not really ever done any. I've just sort of I have a go at stuff and I sort of give it my best. So that's about it, really. I've never been done loads of sports and things like that. I just put a lot of effort in, work hard at something I'm going to do. So after the OCR, I've had to leave that for injury, so I was sort of missing that buzz. You two have both done OCR, so you know that feeling, that adrenaline. It was sort of I can't do it anymore because I've had 2 shoulder ups, so trying to fill that void and just trying different things. But no, I wouldn't say I'm exceptional or anything. I just work hard and train hard for whatever I'm gonna have a go at. To be fair.
So as a kid, you showed no interest in running whatsoever?
It wasn't the sort of thing we'd done because it was we just didn't have that sort of thing. We didn't have clubs and running. There was no running or anything like that. It was you play football, what you guys call soccer, that was it, or boxing.
Mhm.
Anything else, it cost money, and it was sort of I didn't sort of grow up that way, so we didn't have money to join clubs or do. It was just literally you went out with your mates and played football in the street, or you went to the boxing club. That was it. And yeah, never done any sports at all, really, apart from playing football with my mates.
When you say you're new to this all, how new does that mean? How old are you, and how long have you been at the endurance? We're gonna get to your past, don't worry. But how old are you,
Yeah.
and how long have you been at this?
I'm 46, and I've done my first Tough Mudder in 2016. So that's it. And then sort of gradually built up, and then got into it and progressed from there.
So things
So
have gone quite well.
7 or 8 years, yeah, it's gone really well. To be fair, it's shocked quite a few people because quite previous to that, I think about 2013, I was extremely overweight, drinking a lot, smoking like 30 cigarettes a day. So my health wasn't the greatest. So quite a lot of people nowadays sort of think, wow, how has he done that from where you were to now? So yeah, I get some good feedback actually. A guy at work he was saying today that he's going to try and lose some weight because if I can do it, he can do it. So yeah.
So at 38, you ran your first race. Is that accurate,
Yeah.
roughly?
Yeah,
38?
it wasn't really a race. It was just a group of us done Tough Mudder, and I was like, "Oh, I like this. This is good fun." And I just enjoyed it.
And prior to that, what was your last athletic, anything even close to athletic competition prior to that?
Football, soccer. See, when I decided I wanted to lose some weight, I was managing my son's football team, and so I wasn't really doing anything. I was just coaching. So, but then as they got older, I'm sort of the influence, the sort of image I'm portraying to them is that I'm fat and lazy. So I decided to get back into it myself. So I started playing football again. So that'd probably be it. Just so I wouldn't train, and I think it'd be on a Saturday. It was a vets team, so it'd be a load of old dads, and we was all overweight, and we'd run around for 50, 60 minutes, sometimes 90 minutes if we didn't have a full team, and then straight in the pub after. So it's kind of athletics, but it wasn't really. So once a week, maybe 90 minutes running around, and then into the pub after. That was my starter, anyway.
There's a couple of conversation directions after combing through what you've done, and I didn't want to assume, but the people that are on the podiums with you and some of the people that butts you're kicking, the nicest way I can put that, appear to be younger than you, and I assumed you were in your 40s.
Yeah,
So you are waxing some of the younger folks as well, which is very top of mind for me. I turned 41 recently. And so it was like one for the old guys. When I went through your profile, I was like, this guy's wiping the floor with some of these younger kids. So that's going to be a part of the conversation today as well. I do have a quick question just because we're going to go down tangents in this conversation anyways. You said that you boxed as a kid. Is it normal for like kids in the streets of London to just get into fist fighting at a young age for sport? Because that doesn't happen here.
Yeah, quite a bit, to be fair. Yeah,
Yeah?
it was awful. Quite a lot of that, and boxing clubs were the only sort of thing that you could go to that didn't charge fortunes. Couldn't play football or cricket or rugby; that was all expensive. So, boxing clubs used to let you train like for virtually nothing, as long as you're putting the effort in. And obviously, on the estates where you call them projects, it sort of it happens quite a bit. Just little scraps, really.
Okay.
It's
So
escalated
there's a
in London
movie
now.
that I used. Oh, okay, so it's a cultural thing, though. I mean, it's like it's not uncommon for most of the kids to go boxing
No, it's not
at
at all.
that age.
Yeah, it's just quite a common thing. There's more, to be fair, there's a
Yeah,
lot more sports available now. So don't forget, this was in the 80s. So it's improved a lot. There's a lot more clubs that are accessible to people without money nowadays. So you're getting a lot more. There's more variety of sports going on. But back in the 80s, there wasn't an awful lot. You just sort of found your own way and got on with it. I'm showing my age now, aren't
um, there's a movie in high school, college that we used to watch. It took place in the streets of London. I think it's an alien. I even forget the details now. Called Attack the Block. Bracken, have you ever seen that movie? Attack the Block.
Yeah,
Have you
I've
seen
seen
that
it.
movie,
Yeah,
Mark? Attack the Block. It takes
yeah.
place in the rough streets of London, and the kids save the world, basically. But it portrays like sort of the ghetto life in quotes, and the kids that live in it. Tell me about growing up in the. Is that accurate one? That because that movie was
No,
like one we watched. No.
no, not that bad. Certain estates are kind of like that, but not all of them. And it's like I said, it's got a lot worse over the years. It weren't like that nowadays. There isn't so many sort of punch ups. There's all sorts of knife fights, knife crime, and stuff like that. So it's not really. It's not the same as it was. It's got, if anything, it's got worse. The way things are. So, but it's not all places are like that. There's certain areas that have gone bad, but I suppose it's the same everywhere in the world, really, isn't it? You've got these trouble areas. Yeah,
So you grew up in one of those, though. That you grew up in one of the troubled areas and kind of found your way through that, or
yeah,
what?
yeah. So, well, to me, I didn't really see it as a troubled area. It was just sort of just growing up. It was just sort of how we were, sort of thing. It's only when you hear listen to like your previous guest, you can tell the posh voice and the university talk and all that. It's a different world, sort of thing. To me and Chris probably pretty similar, sort of thing. He's a scaffolder, I'm an electrician, so it's the construction industry.
Where's the hierarchy there? Who ranks above who
Oh,
in the world?
massively. I'm well above. The
Good.
scaffolders are well down the list on the on the building hierarchy. The electricians in England, we of the building trade, we get a lot of stick that we're the posh ones. We sort of they make jokes about we turn up in our BMWs and wipe everything off with cash. It's all just joke. We call it banter. In the UK, it's called banter. But yeah, we're the top, scaffolders at the bottom. So sorry, Chris, you know where you belong.
So you did a bit of football, a little bit of boxing, and then what did you do once you got done with elementary school? What was that next step for you?
I started an apprenticeship as I left school.
Yeah.
I left school at 16. Well, a week after I turned 16, I become an electrician, sort of thing. Pretty much done that ever since. The rave scene hit big in the UK when I left school as well. So I used to go to a lot of raves. You
Yeah.
know, raves in America. So that was pretty much a lot of my youth. The rave scene in England, and then I had my son at 23, so quite a young age. So then it was bought a house, had another kid, sort of the mortgage, and just sort of settled into that dad life where you overeat, just work, and don't do a lot of exercise and drink a lot and smoke a lot. So you've got
And that was
kind of
like 2 decades.
yeah, pretty much sort of. It sort of takes up your life because you're constantly working, sometimes 7 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, by the time you get home, you have time with your kids and stuff, and your nights out are usually in the pub. So it's getting that time. It's only as I've got older and my kids have got older, I've got a bit more time work balance, so I can finish work early and go to the gym or go for a run and sort of have a bit more time for myself, sort of thing.
So just to put in perspective for your athletic ascension later,
Yeah.
give me an average week in your most typical year of work. How often were you working? How often at the pub? How much smoking? Like, what was your typical non-athletic week like?
My smoking, because I smoked from an early age, from about 12, like really young sort of thing, and probably about 20 to 30 cigarettes a day. Sorry, we call them fags over here, which I know you guys find funny. But yeah, 20 to 30
You
cigarettes.
can call them what you call them. That's quite all right.
20 to 30 fags a day. Working generally 5 days. Sometimes I have a job come up and I do 7 days. The pub a couple of times during the week, and then the weekend it'd be like we go out, and there's a massive binge drinking culture in the UK, as you've got to know. So we'd go out on a Friday or a Saturday or something, and it'd be like a good session, like an all night session sort of thing. But yeah, and then back to work on Monday, and it sort of just went on like that. But my food as well was sort of at work. I'd grab Greg's or just some food while I'm working. So I'm eating crap, drinking fizzy drinks and Red Bulls and stuff to keep myself going. As I've learned about nutrition and stuff, I've looked back to how I used to deal with, and you think, wow, no wonder you're in such a mess. Just getting that nutrition right is huge.
So then this is something I'm always interested in. So you finally find your group of people you're with are going to do a Tough Mudder. What was your very first day of training like? What is that feeling? Because Kirk and I never went longer than an injury away from training. That's as far as we ever got away from it. We never did the 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of nothing. What does week one of endurance feel like for you?
Oh, I remember the first game of football, which was soccer. That really killed. I couldn't even walk properly for days because it's just running around. That was bad. But with the football, you sort of, after a few games, because everyone's hurting, it's sort of, you've got your mates with you, so it's not so bad. But when I first started training for the Tough Mudder, I'd done the first run. I was like, oh, I've got 10 miles to do, and they make it sound so tough. Like, oh, it's really tough. So I'd go out and do some runs and stuff. And yeah, I think I got for about 5K, and it was, how do they do this? It was just hard and grueling. But I'm pretty good. Like I said, I'm pretty good. If I've got to do something, I'll work at it. So I went out again and again and again. And when it actually come to the race, I actually found it quite easy. So I built up to it through the training. The first one was grim, and a couple after, but it seemed to get a bit better. And I took my son. My son said to me, "Do a park run with him." Do you have park run in America?
No, but we're familiar.
Yeah, he got me to do a park run with him. I think he was 15, 16 at the time. I think he's about 14 or 15. And yeah, I beat him, which was much he was not happy with. And yeah, so that gave me a massive. It hurt like hell, and I was in pain for days after. But I was like, well, I've got something to have a little push on here. So yeah, just hard work, and it managed to get through it.
When did the smoking stop? I've worked with a number of clients over the years, so I have a personal training business on top of my run coaching, and I've had a number of people that come to me. I quit smoking. I've gained 40 pounds since quitting, and now I got to deal with this weight that I put on since quitting. And there's this, now obviously you were counterbalancing whatever effects the lack of smoking had with movement, right? Running. But I have to imagine if you're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day or more, like, when did you stop? Like, how did breathing while running feel in the beginning versus now? Like, I'm very curious about the comparatives in that trajectory.
I'd actually quit smoking well before I started running. I'd quit that back at football. And yeah, I suppose that the weight gain was still there, but with a thing, but I did get back into vaping again because they put it's just once you're a smoker, it's always that sort of draw towards it. And I got the vapes come out, and I got into vaping, and I was still vaping up until about 2018, and I did notice when I stopped doing that I was getting faster at like Spartan races and stuff like that. So I didn't even from the vaping, I noticed a big increase. I didn't really get the weight gain because vaping's not quite as bad, and I was training a hell of a lot more by then. But I definitely, I don't know if it was because I put more training in, but I noticed a big improvement from the stopping vaping, because that used to get a lot of negative comments like at a Spartan race. I'd finish the race and I've got my vape straight out after. So like, because there's a lot of like serious athletes, and they was like, "Oh, how are you still doing that? You could be this and that." So the vaping definitely, when I got off of that, it made a difference.
Do you know my first experience at the Spartan Race World Championships in Lake Tahoe? I got there early. It was the day before the race, and I couldn't sleep. So I got up at like 6 in the morning and just looked at the venue. And at the finish line, this is Tahoe 2016, there's a guy who could stand to lose some weight, and he's there with his one hand in his pocket, and he's smoking a cigarette just at the start finish line, just smoking it in, right? And I thought it was peculiar. He's the only other one out there. It was just as the sun was coming up. And he's like, "Hey, you're running tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm racing tomorrow." You know, I thought I was all tough stuff at the time. I learned the next day I wasn't. And this gentleman smokes a pack a day, travels around and runs races, and he was still puffing on the cigarettes. That was my first person I spoke to at the Spartan Race World Championships, was a guy who could have lost some weight and had a pack of cigs, Marlboros in his front pocket, smoking away, about to run the Spartan Race World Championships.
And
People like that exist at altitude.
Yeah, that's got
I thought so. He was finishing was his goal, of course, but like I just thought it was very interesting. Why did you quit then? Why did you quit smoking? What prompted that? Because that's a pretty tough thing to kick after decades.
It's me and my wife both quit because we was both smokers, and it was just it's the cost of it that was going through the roof. You know the health benefit. You know what it's doing to you, and always coughing. So it's just I tried a few times before, but finally nailed it, got rid of it. It's been something that I'd always done. So yeah,
what was that like?
Was it as hard as they say?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
You're gonna ask the same question.
So, yeah, it is horrible, and it's still, to be fair, I've not smoked for years now, but even a certain smell, and I'll be like, oh, what could I do on them? Or after eating, it's little triggers that sort of draw you back in. So yeah, smoking's awful. It's so hard to kick.
What was it like to try to quit at the same time as your wife?
Yeah, that was kind of tough. It kind of didn't. We both sort of quit when one of the kids was born, and yeah, so we sort of ended up doing it different times. It was a long time ago now, but yeah, it was difficult because obviously you're both a bit touchy and a bit sort of getting that withdrawal sort of thing. Smoking's a horrendous thing because it's such a pain to get rid of.
Who handled it better? Who quit first?
I'd say me, but then I went back to it a couple of times, whereas she stayed off it. So she takes a win on that one.
Okay. Did that make it tough then? When you'd go back a bit, was there friction because of that?
No, I can't hit it.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was friction when she found out. But yeah, come on now.
I suppose there's always that route.
Yeah, hide that stuff.
Your honesty now is endearing, so it's good. So a curiosity, we're going to get to what you've been doing lately, of course, but with all this, so obviously, like, you put a lot of time, energy, and focus into your training right now and your racing. Kids are older, you can do that, right? You are more probably steady with work and, you know, in different financial place to travel and race. There's all those things, right, that go into it. But like, you're putting a lot of energy into this right now. And it always mystifies me when somebody goes from like 0 to hero. And I don't mean you were a 0 before, but what I'm saying is, like, what were you putting your energy into before you found endurance athletics? Like, are you an all in on something kind of guy? Did you have anything in quotes before this? I'm curious.
Yeah, I kind of I do sort of put everything into it. Like I said, I was my son's soccer coach, and basically I run that for I think about 7 or 8 years. So it's a youth team football, and I put a lot of effort into it. So I do the training, we research all like the best training methods, all the bits and pieces that go with it. Really, I sort of focus on something and really go into it. But I think I've had more energy the fitter I've got. So my wife says I've got worse. She said you don't sit still no more because obviously now I've got more energy. Whereas before I'd sit and watch telly. Now I'm sort of kind of bored. I want to do something. I might go. I'm going to go to the gym. And she's like, "Oh, just sit still," and which I used to be able to do, but now I've got more energy. It sort of works in the other sort of way. But yeah, I'll go all in at something. Once I'm after something, I really sort of put out all the stops. We'll try and find out everything to get done.
So you finish your first Tough Mudder. Was it instantly you knew, all right, this is something I'm
Yeah,
going in on right away?
yeah, right away. And then I looked. I think I got a flyer or I see it, and there was a race version of it couple of weeks after. I think it's called Mud Monsters, and I was like, oh, right, I'll have a go at this. So because obviously I'm competitive, so doing it together and waiting for some friends that weren't fit enough it was good fun, but it was kind of boring waiting. So
Mhm.
then I'd done the race one, and I finished pretty well. I was like, wow, this is good. This is where the adrenaline is because it was that whole you're racing, you're competing, you haven't got to worry about like in football if someone's not pulling their weight or if the team's not playing well. No matter what, this is all just on you. You can put all the effort in and get a reward. So I think that first race, and yeah, I was hooked.
And
I
did you
was
dive
all in.
into it just like your son's football team, research everything there was to research and just start training seriously from the jump?
Yeah, no, yeah, I suppose yeah, but there's levels to what you can learn and what you can do. So yeah,
Mhm.
I did do that. I went for that. Obviously, I've improved recent in the last few years, but at that first stage, yeah, I've done all that sort of stuff. Researched it, learned how to do a foot lock, all the bits and pieces, all the bits the skills to improve. Just went fully into it.
How much weight did you lose?
Oh, well, it's just gonna be a tough conversion. Do you guys know conversion? See, I was just under
Yeah, you can do
15.
that.
We can divide by 2.2. We can
I
figure
was
it
just
out.
under 15 stone, and I've
Oh,
dropped a lot.
stone. I'm lost.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so. And then I dropped quite a bit before when I first got into OCR to about 12 and a half stones. So 2.5 stones. So what's that? About 30 odd pound?
Sounds
How
right.
much is a stone? What's a
Yeah,
stone, Bracken? How much is that?
14 pounds a stone.
You guys measure yourselves in stones over there
Yeah, yeah, I know.
from the streets of London?
Yeah, it's in England. In Europe, it's kilograms, which I'm still not right. And you guys do pounds, don't you? And we do
Mhm.
stones. So yeah, about
What?
30 pounds for the first lot, but now I've lost quite a bit for this for China. I've dropped down. I've got rid of the dad bod, as Chris calls it. That used to
Mhm.
really annoy him. He's like, how am I getting beaten by someone with a dad bod? And he used to. He wasn't happy.
That reminds me of Hunter McIntyre would get mad when he got beat by Hobie Call, who he described as a chicken nugget with legs. And it drove Hunter McIntyre mad that a chicken nugget with legs beat him. I'm still stuck on this stone thing, though. It seems like such a big unit of measurement for a small unit human. Like if you were measuring like elephants in stones, that would make sense. Or like garbage trucks in stones. Like how many stones does that garbage truck weigh? But like people, like I weigh like 7.25 stones. That seems like not a very accurate way to measure people.
It's the
Am I
way
the
it's
only one who
always
thinks
been.
that here?
It's anyway. It's always been done. It's normal for me. It's sort of at the moment. I think I'm 11 stone 4, and my heaviest
Mhm.
I was 14 stone 9. So
Okay.
it's it. But yeah,
Learn something new every day.
yeah, it's just the way the UK have done it. But
All
yeah,
right. Well, that's a lot of weight. So
yeah.
we just got a nutrition question, topic of conversation come in today. I don't know if it came to my personal account or running public account, but did you change anything with your nutrition, or was it purely like I started training and the weight came off by movement, or did you have more going on weight loss than just movement?
A lot, mainly movement, because I've got a sweet tooth. I did try to cut out a lot of stuff. I'd cut out the over stuff, but then I would go back into eating the chocolates and whatnot. So majority movement, but I did make a lot of changes as well. So I cut out all the sugary drinks, cut out as much as I could all the cakes and stuff like that, and just eased off some of the stuff. But my diet still wasn't good. The joke is that I was trying to outrun a bad diet, and I'm a good runner sort of thing, because the diet was bad, which is something I've changed this year for this particular race I've just done. So it's again, you're always learning, always trying to find new techniques, and just that extra inch sort of thing.
I do want to get back to that, but I want to bridge the gap real quick. So you found Tough Mudder, then you found your Muddy Monster or whatever, and then you moved to competitive. And as far as I could tell, you took it all the way up to OCR Worlds and won your age group there, correct?
Yeah, well, first in 2019, I won the European Championships, which is the hardest short course because it's the technical one. That was the big one. I won that in Poland in 2019, my age group, and then obviously COVID and all that happened, so we missed a lot of stuff there. I went out to Tenerife for the Spartan European Championships, and they cancelled that the night before at the race, which is not good. And then I've done the Spartan World Championships in Abu Dhabi as well, which was that was amazing in the desert. And yeah, and Spartan decided that I wasn't allowed to go in the age group, so I had to go in the pro wave. So I was up against Hunter, Ryan Atkins, and John Auburn, and all that sort of stuff. It was a good experience. But yeah, so that was a really good one. I just sort of pushed on from there, and then 2022 was I've done the double in America, which is I suppose pinnacle of my OCR.
And then shoulder injuries.
Yeah, a lot of it's being an electrician. You're working above your head all the time. So I've had 30 years of doing that and pulling cables at strange angles, and I'm quite an aggressive obstacle racer as well. So I literally jump and fly into things without much fear of safety. So I've had 5 bolts put in my right shoulder on. This is after the Worlds. The rotator cuff had torn, the bicep head had torn, so that to be all bolted back on. So that was that one, and then the left bicep dropped as well. So that was just the bicep put back on. That was this year, but it was the right shoulder last year, which was like, that's it, OCR's finished, because I was off work for 3 or 4 months. It was it's not worth the risk because I need to use my arms for work.
Yeah. So for someone with a history of habits and then suddenly not being able to do the thing that you had pivoted to, what were those 3 to 4 months like?
Oh, that was grim. And because if anyone listening had a rotator cuff injury, but when you have that up, it is horrendous. You can't sleep, you can't move. So it was quite dark for that 3 or 4 months off work, and it's sort of, I was still harboring to go back. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come back. So I'll be up walking up the hills and stairs with me sling on, trying to get some fitness going, because I thought, yeah, I'm coming back. And I noticed that one had to be done as well, and it was sort of, yeah, you're done. It's your age with the damages, it's just not worth it. So then, yeah, it was a bit down, but other things. I've done a lot of trail race last year. Tried to get in London Marathon, didn't get in. So I searched up and I've done a Mount Snowdon, which is the highest mountain in Wales. I've done a marathon over that last year. It's something a bit more,
yeah,
sort of with that adrenaline, that rush, just to try and fill the void sort of thing. So try and fill it that way.
Shoulders are tricky. And from what I understand, if you have such an invasive corrective surgery, like especially rotators, they're never going back to how they were before surgery. In fact, you kind of, it's over, right? My dad actually has some torn up shoulders, and he's putting off surgery because it's basically, well, when it happens, like you may not be able to do anything. A lot of the things you could do before surgery, even afterwards. Yes, you're fixed, but there's many limitations. So it's not even really an option of like, I'm trying to be smart by not going back to OCR. It's like you literally cannot go back to overhead stuff like that, right?
I'm hitting the gym quite a lot at the moment. I'm doing push and pull sessions, so really I'm strong enough now. I could do, but obviously there's a difference between lifting weight under control and jumping and swinging off stuff. So yeah, the chances are I'm going to I've got these attachments bolted into my shoulder where they've had to put it back in.
Oof.
So yeah, it just doesn't make sense. To be fair, there's not a lot else I could do in OCR. I ticked all the boxes. I've done the European Championships. I've done the Worlds. There's nothing left unsaid. I was injured in 22. At the European Championships, it really seized up. I couldn't do anything. But the Worlds, I just about got through it with the arm in a mess. So it's a case of I've made it worse, but at least I'm leaving on a high. I finished up with the 2 goals. So it was going to have some sort of operation. I made it a bit worse, but I think it was worth it in the long run.
The bicep tendon is tricky too for people listening. It's like your bicep runs up your arm, and then it inserts into the front of your shoulder, and that bicep, yours literally detached from the joint and retracted down your arm. Correct? Like you completely tore the attachment. Right.
Yeah. On the left-hand side,
which is very painful.
Notice that happen. I didn't even not this on the left-hand side. I didn't even notice that one go because it was while I was recovering from the right operation. My wife went, "What's happened to your bicep?" And I must have pushed up on the morphine or something and just popped it. So yeah, that one didn't hurt, but it was just that was a bonus. The right one did give me a hell. This is the one that's nearly 2 years being fixed now. That's the one that still gives me a bit of grief. But then it had 5 bolts in it and quite a lot of work. So, but I'm lifting again. I'm in the gym, so it's not a problem. It's working.
So you did a mountain race, road running. What came the closest to filling that OCR void?
Probably that mountain race because it was just so tough. It was, I didn't fuel fit properly. I've never done a marathon before, so and then it's in the mountain, and I run out of water and decided to neck 10 gels, which is what you endurance guys know that your stomach can't handle that a mile 20 going up the side of a mountain. So I learned a few lessons that day, but it was that whole something really tough because I'd moved on from just doing. I enjoyed the hard part of it, like in Stratton 22, it was up and over the ski resorts and on the mountain. So it's that real push, that sort of well past your comfort zone. So I guess pretty much that was it last year. Sort of found it, but it's still certain things lacking because you're getting that buzz of that race.
So you finished that one. That was your first marathon. And what happened between then and finding the Great Wall Marathon?
I've done a load of other races, a load of halves. Half marathons are pretty much my favourite sort of thing. I've done a lot of trail ones, little road ones, but I kind of get bored on the road. It sort of puts you off a little bit. And then I knew I had to have this operation done in November, and I thought, well, I can't sit around moping again. I need something to focus my training on. So I searching through like the world's toughest marathons and all the rest of it. Cause I've done that one. I thought, and then it come up. I've always wanted to see the Great Wall of China anyway. And then I was seeing the videos and stuff. I was like, wow, this looks crazy. I really want to get involved. So tried to get someone to come. Couldn't get anyone to go. And I thought, I'm gonna just go for it. I'm gonna just go on my own. And because last year on that Wales one, up Snowdon, I finished 9th, and it was an Xterra World Series one, and the finals was in on the Appalachian Trail at America, and I was like, oh, I've been invited out to go. I was thinking of going, but I couldn't get anyone to go, so I just didn't go out to it. So I thought this time, if I can't find no one, I'm just going to go on my own and go for it. And they give me something. So I booked it the day before my operation. So I had something like as soon as the operation was done to focus on. So then it was in the sling, up and down the stairs near me, just walking up and down, rather than sitting around moping, feeling sorry for myself. It was a good sort of good push.
I think that's something people who, let's say, transition from OCR, they go to the roads and they're like, this is so boring. Or they go to their local trail race, which is an uninspiring trail. It's a trail and it's called a trail race, but it's really just like sort of glorified road running, just a few, little nuances. And then there's the extreme trail races, the ones on the terrain that make you question what you're doing there and can be scary at times and push you in a way that you haven't been pushed before. And I think that's part of the thing that sometimes people don't make that connection with OCR, that half of OCR, what's beautiful a lot of times is the obstacles, but the other half, which makes it amazingly awful, is the terrain they put you on. And it's like, if you're going to transition from OCR or can't find the right OCR race, the next best thing is to go just pick out the craziest terrain type race you can find and go do that. And you'll find it fills your cup close to what an OCR race does, just because the terrain is the challenge. You find that to be true for yourself, is what I'm understanding?
Yeah, massively. It was that certain things you do a race, especially like I said, the road races, you do it, and realistically, if you're in a road race, you're with some really fast runners and stuff, and you're not getting anywhere near it. It's not really a race. It's just about time. So in some of the trail races, I won a few trail races last year. Some of ours are pretty good. So I was getting the buzz from that. Like over Box Hill, we do one, so it's got some good terrain. But it was that whole epic side of it, because having done the world champs in the Leeward Desert, it was certain. I missed the spear, so straight after the spear, you had to do 30 burpees, and then it was the world's biggest sand dune. And it was sort of to get through that. It was sort of, you've got to dig deep, and there's nothing really going to give you that sort of test in any sort of trail road race here. So yeah, it's just searching for that the beautiful monster, really, isn't it, that everyone sort of chases after.
So then you get your surgery on the left bicep. And how long do you have from surgery date to race date?
6 months.
6 months. And how long did it take before you could run again?
2 months.
And what did you do during those 2?
I got a friend of mine to give me a leg program so that I could do. So I'd be doing step ups on a box. It just, stuff, leg conditioning. So I was doing leg conditioning and just walking up hills and stairs. So literally just put my headphones on, listen to a podcast or a book, and I just bought loops, just putting them miles in on the stairs, and then doing the leg workouts as well until the shackles can come off and I could run again. But yeah, to be fair,
go ahead.
It was probably done me a favour, give me a nice solid base rather than pushing too early and give me a little rest.
We've talked to a few people who have done big stair blocks of training. Christopher Woolley did that when he was trying to win Innovate's vertical feet in a month challenge. He was doing hours of stairs every day. People who have done this kind of thing, they come back and they're shocked at what their running feels like when they return to running. What did yours feel like when you were back?
Not too bad, because I was increasing the pace of the walking to the point where it's kind of nearly there, and then so the route pretty much stayed the same because the weather has been awful here. So I've not been out going to trails, so because in case I slip, so I've had to do all on road, all the training, because if I slipped, I'd rip the arm back open. So the route's been the same up and down the stairs and the road. It's just the pace has increased, and then obviously the heart rate was a bit higher to start with, and you lose a bit of fitness, but the legs felt good because of the conditioning I've been doing and the stairs anyway. So it didn't really take that long to get it going again, but it was way down. Like, it's more the heart than anything else, because it's hard to get your legs up. I've been going to spin class as well, local gyms, just to try and get some sort of some sort of cardio boost.
Hmm.
So yeah, I didn't find a massive difference, but I suppose I'm not a long-term runner. So if you're a long-term runner, you know exactly what everything is. And I go through stages. I went for a run yesterday, and my hip flexors hurts. Everything's all out of line. It just feels weird, but that's probably because of a couple of weeks ago.
I think we should jump the race, and then we'll have some follow-up questions for you. Great Wall of China Marathon. All right. I assume it's limited entry. I assume it's got a crazy elevation profile. Tell us the specs of the course.
Well, I don't think it's limited entry. Obviously, it's logistically quite difficult. You can only, unless you're Chinese national or live there, you have to go for a tour company, which is Albatross Adventure Marathons. You can't just book in and go on the race. So, but there's people from 60 different countries out there, and there's quite a lot of from all over the place. The elevation, it starts off, you're going up this great big climb. I can't remember what the distance of it was, and then that's on a road, and then you get onto the Great Wall of China, and you go over the wall. I think it's about 8K on the stairs, and then you come back down, and there's a road section goes up for a mountain pass, and then you come back round yourself, and then there's a great big climb that gets you back on the wall. They call it the goat track. So to get back up on the wall, I think it's around about mile 20, something like that. It's a 700-meter up on the stairs, and that takes you back up onto the wall, and then it's more stairs and over, and then back round. But it was the scenery was beautiful. It was stunning, but the heat was the one that was always, or I was always worried about how I was going to deal with the heat out there, because of the UK has been awful this year. We've had barely had above 10, and I think it was between 30 and 32 for the whole race. So yeah, big culture shock.
Stair running. You're saying you went up, we'll call it 2,100 feet or 700 meters, whatever you want to call it, all stairs for that entire climb?
Yeah, the goat track, it winds up and round.
So do you have any thoughts on uphill stair running or downhill stair running? We have a section of stairs on some of my local trails to climb some of the steeper parts. They build them there to prevent erosion. And stair running is sort of a tricky thing, especially stairs, I would imagine, which aren't always even, like climbing like that. Like, what's your approach or technique to going upstairs efficiently? Do you two-step? Do you one-step? Do you power hike? Do you fluddle your feet up? What's your technique for running upstairs? That's a lot of stairs to run up.
Yeah, well, like you're right. With this Great Wall, the stairs are all different shapes and sizes and different depths.
Right.
It's so different in different sections. So some sections you'd run, some sections you can like two-step, some you have to do each one. But what we found at the start of the race, there's me and another English guy. I think it's about 6th or 7th, quite a way back. There's some really good runners in front of us that are just on the road destroying us. But with the stairs, they were still running, and both of us went to the trail you push off your thigh. So it's the power walking. We was pushing off the thighs, and we was overtaking them quite easily. And they're trying to run it like they're running up a hill. We literally leant bums back, pushing the arms down, and you power walk up them stairs, and it was quicker. We overtook them, and they're running. So they're burning matches going up there, and it's quite an easy push because I'm using a lot of upper body, and I'm not tearing the hell out of my calves like they were, because I know you've got the long road section. So just pushing up the thighs.
What was the total vertical gain of that marathon?
On my Strava, it wasn't that bad, to be fair. It was only, what was it, 1170. So I think it's 37,000 feet, 1,170 meters. So about
Just under 4,000
3,500
feet.
feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad according to Strava, but it seemed a lot more.
It felt that way.
Yeah, well, because there was a lot of, because I was looking at on the profile on there, and I'm saying it's 700 meters, that goat track. That's what they call it. So I couldn't tell if it was. They say the 700-meter climb up the goat. It did go on for a long time, So it felt like a lot, but I have actually been training because I thought it'd be more than that. My training I've been doing half marathons and I've been getting about more than that, over 4,000 feet of stair climbs and stuff in each one of my training sessions. So it wasn't the end of the world for me, to be fair. I was well within it. It
Mhm.
wasn't too bad. It's like the heat. The heat was the one. So, but I had a cooling towel, this thin towel, and it wrapped around my waist in my shorts. And then after I think it must be about an hour, the sun was at its highest. It was burning. So I put it under my hat, and so as I'm running, I've got this soaking, because I'm pouring water on my head. I've got this soaking wet towel just flapping, and it was, yeah, it really seemed to do the trick. I looked like a complete idiot, but it worked. It was fanning me.
And what were the descents like here? Stairs as well?
Yeah, there's some good ones actually, some really steep ones, and because well, you can imagine what a 2,000-year-old wall stairs look like. They're
Mhm.
not. Some of them you can go down really good. Some of them were stairs, and it was just stone and the stair. It was a bit sketchy, and we're 2 days before the race. You have to have an inspection. So they get you down there, they go through all the rules, you get your packet, and then they take you up on the wall. They drop you off in coaches at the top, and you walk along a certain section. And there'd been some bees or something, and someone had run away from these bees, and the section goes along, drops down, but then it looks like it stops there, but it drops even deeper, and someone has slipped and smashed their head. And as we walked past them, and there was blood all over the stairs. It's in the back of your mind that you've just seen someone's head caved open 2 days before on these stairs. So it was the stairs. The other English guy that I was racing against, he's a fell racer, so he just lives in the mountains. They run up and down mountains all
Mm.
day long. He went going down these stairs, and I just sort of eased off and thought, I'll come back to you a bit later on. I'll just on some of them the sketchy ones, I did ease off a little bit.
So where did you take control of the race?
I'd say, well, I caught up with being that the guy who said flying down the stairs. I caught him up along the one of the road sections, and I was talking to him. I said, "Oh, we're running together. Look, we're in front." So he was chatting for a bit, but I could see he was struggling. I felt quite good, so I'm used to a half marathon pace, and so I'm trying to ease off, thinking, well, I'm not doing half marathon; it's a full marathon. I've got to ease off what feels comfortable. So I'm easing off, but I still felt too slow, so I was just pushed off, and then I just felt comfortable the whole way and just kept the pace down. And with all the local people coming out and cheering and like making noise and stuff, it was a good feeling really. So it's just I knew I'd done the training. I'd worked
Mhm.
on my nutrition this time. I had a full nutrition plan, so I knew I could do the mileage. The strength was there. I'd done the training, so I just thought might as well go for it. Just keep pushing and keep pushing. There's no point in holding back too much. Could have probably gone a little bit more, but yeah, enough to just keep going on. But like I said, it made a big difference having messed one up before to get the nutrition bang on
Mhm.
this time and the plan. Even like the week before, I was hydration tablets, bottles of water with loads of electrolytes in, just to soak the system. So yeah, no, I knew I had him on that road and left him there, and I was pretty comfortable for the rest of the race.
And what was that nutrition
I
strategy
think
like this time?
Yeah, like I'd carb loaded in that week, coming up to it, so I'd gone well below what I wanted to lose, ready to go. So I wasn't and I could eat more carbs going into it. And then the plan was I'd have a gel at 30 minutes, but this time with solid food rather than just gels. So 30 minutes I'd have a gel, and then the next 30 minutes would be it's called a chia charge bar. I don't know if you have them over there. It's got chia seeds, it's got oats and brown sugar. It's all natural stuff, nothing, but it crumbles, so you can eat them. I've tried running with them at 160 heart rate, and I could eat them. So I had one of them, and then every 45 minutes was a salt tablet, and I had these electrolyte tablets as well. So when they give you a water, I drop one in there. I'd have one of them an hour. But I kept it every 30 minutes between gel, solid food, gel, solid food, gel, solid food. So there's a constant fuel going in there with enough electrolytes and enough salt, because I was losing gallons of salt.
Mm.
and dripping.
What was your total time, and how much did you end up winning by?
It was 3:43, and it was 6 minutes. So it doesn't seem that fast when you look at other people's marathon times. You think, no, it's pretty slow, but I'll take it.
3:43 with 35 plus 100 feet of gain on stairs and technical terrain and 80 plus degree weather. I think people could wrap their heads around how that would not be easy to do. Why do you think you won the race? Big picture, 10,000 foot view. Why did you win that race? And I saw the guys on the podium, and I brought this up earlier. They're not as old as you. They're not even close to your age. They're probably half your age, 30s at best.
Yeah,
why'd you win?
It didn't come down to skill. It didn't come down to talent. It come down to how tough you are and resilient. I think because of how grueling. I think the heat helped me out, even though I'm pasty and I'm from England and not from Italy, like the guy come third. But the fact that how disgustingly hot and how tough it was, I think that went in my favour. I think as you get older, it's just in your 40s, you've been through a bit, you've seen a bit, you don't quit easy. Whereas the youngers, they're not really as durable. So I guess it comes down to more grit and determination, the talent and ability.
You wouldn't think it has anything to do with you training, 1,500 meters of stairs on your your training runs.
To be fair, I must admit, one of the guys, he's been Strava stalking me. I think the Italian guy come third. He Strava stalked me, went through all my training, and he was like, "Wow," because it's been my one focus. So I've been putting like 3 weeks out, which is when I started to taper off. That last week, I think on the Thursday, I'd done 3,000 feet of stairs and hills, and then on the Saturday, done the same sort of thing again. So my legs were absolutely fried, and so it was doing quite a lot. I think I got, let's see, I'm in meters, about 70,000 feet of elevation from January to now. So there's quite a bit of training gone in.
Mm-hmm.
So I can put it down to anything else, but I trained for it. I knew the profile. I knew we'd be going up a big hill, and then we're going stairs, then sort of a mixture, and then it'd be back to stairs. So my training would be the same thing. I found an area, run up a hill. I do 10 reps of these stairs, go and do a long run, come back, do 10 more reps of these stairs. I've done that 3 or 4 times. So I've sort of, your body sort of gets ready for it. Trained for it to like perfection, basically.
That is my favorite kind of race. The race that you must be a good runner, but you must have the other pieces as well, where it balances out, where you can't win it off your running and you can't win it off your descending. You have to have them both. I
wasn't the best runner there, and I wasn't the best trail runner there, because the English guy was much better than me. He's a mountain runner, that's all he does, but he wasn't good on the road. And the road runners that were much better on the road than me were pretty poor on the stairs. So like you're right, it comes down to what you train for and what how you can bring it together in a day.
Well, Kirk, I don't know if you remember, we had I think an Ask Me Anything episode at one point, and someone asked bucket list runs, and I said one of them was run the Great Wall of China.
Do it.
So I do recall.
This race might have to be on the list.
It's actually on the Great Wall.
Got to wait till he retires out of it, and then when I hit my sweet spot of 46, that's the age where you win these races.
It's been going since 1999. It's the first one back since COVID. So I probably got lucky. There will probably be a load more people going to be the next few years, but it's been going for that long, and it is good. There is another Great Wall of China run, which is all on the wall somewhere, but the reviews I heard about it and the organisation weren't the greatest, whereas this one ticked all the boxes, sort of thing. And
what was that experience like outside of the race itself? Because we had someone on to talk about their adventure style racing that they host and put on, and all these destinations, and he's meticulous with the details of the lead up. What was this like for you?
It was amazing, because I don't know what sort of image China's portrayed in America, but China here, it's not really sort of everyone thinks it's negative sort of. It's a beautiful place. It really is. We stayed in some rural town. I won't even say it because I want to just butcher the name, but with some rural mountain town, and everyone they'd hardly ever seen Westerners before. They wanted selfies. We're in shops and they're coming over asking for selfies with us, and it's just a great vibe and really friendly. It was kind of boring, the hotel. There weren't a lot going on where we were, but I suppose that sort of settles you. And I'd done the tour, so I went to see the tombs. And then the day before, we had the walk round, so we went and saw that. And it was just sort of a big adventure. It was quite nerve wracking because I'd gone out on my own as well. And the hotel I was in just so happened, I was the only Brit. So I was like, oh, crap, I'm sort of, there's Dutch, Germans. And I ended up knocking about some Kiwis, some people from New Zealand. So that was quite fun. It was just sort of,
Kindred spirits.
yeah. Although that was so funny because they're more my old style, because the night before the race, I'm having spaghetti. Even though I'm in China, I didn't go for the meal. There's a big meal planned. I'm not eating Chinese food the night before a race. The hotel done some spaghetti, so I know I'm good with that. And I took my own porridge with me, so the next day I got my porridge as normal. But the Kiwis are eating Chinese hot wings and drinking beer. I'm like, wow, you guys are just different. But they weren't there to hammer it. They were just there to enjoy it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they're drinking beer and eating hot wings.
Now, granted, you've got the electrician's salary, but is this an approachable cost, or do you have to be a linesman to be able to afford this?
It's quite expensive. I suppose it's not that bad. It is quite expensive, but there is a lot of movable parts for it as well. I think without the flights, it come in at about, I think it's $1,700, something like that. So it's not cheap. It's not a cheap thing.
Is it a package?
Yeah, it's a package. That was
Yeah.
with like your hotels, your race, after party, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's not cheap. It's an expensive one, but like I said, I was talking about earlier, where I've worked since I was 16. The house is nearly paid off, so I've got a bit more I can
Mm-hmm.
do sort of stuff now, reaping the benefits.
Training in London or outside of London, you guys don't have a ton of topography at Access, right? Like you don't have giant mountains to climb
No, we haven't
anywhere
got.
within reach.
No, we've got no mountains. The nearest mountain we've got is, I suppose, probably Wales, and that would be about 4 or 5 hours. But Box Hill, it's got some decent elevation, decent hills, but they're quite small, so you have to repeat them, sort of thing.
Do you feel like it translates to? So I live in Minnesota, Brakken's in Wisconsin, area here in the States, and largest climb I have access to is under 100 meters, 70 maybe. Okay, it's the biggest I can get to for regular training. Making it work, right? Then we go to mountain races and we climb 3,000 consecutive feet or 1,000 meters, and we have to figure it out, right? Did you do all your training on real terrain? Did you ever get on like a treadmill or a Stairmaster to simulate longer efforts? Like, what is your philosophy there?
Yeah, Stairmaster. I done the normal marathon training up until about 2 months ago. So I'd go track every Thursday night and do the track, and then I'd drop the track out and swap the track session for what I'd do. I'd go in the gym, 20 minutes on a treadmill, and then do 40 minutes on the Stairmaster as fast as I can. So literally just 40 minutes just leaving puddles in the gym. But it must have got some disgusting looks. And then I'd go in sit in the sauna for a bit after as well, to try and get some sort of heat acclimatization. So straight as soon as I finished on the Stairmaster, into the sauna for a bit more sweating. But yeah, it's the only way you can do it. 40 minutes continuous up. Otherwise, I'm going up, down every time. I've got the same as you. I think our biggest climb is 100 meters. So yeah, it's not. You're not getting huge. You can do them over and over again, but it's not going to give you, like I said, for the mountains. But I've done mountain races as well in America. At Stratton, when I won that one of the main rivals, the guy comes second. He was a fell racer, so he lives in the Peak District. He lives in the mountain region of England, so that's his speciality. But my training managed to get it done there as well. So it's not ideal. It's better if you've got the mountains, but I think you can sort of teach your body to get ready for some pain.
And what do you do shoe-wise for something with so much stair running down?
That I've tested and tested for
I
quite a
believe
while.
it.
I went for the Hoka Rocket X2s.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the new, the carbon ones, not the new ones. The ones before, they're more stable, but they've got the carbon plate for the road section, and
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty stable. And I've used them over here. And like I said, it's been pouring with rain all year, so I've been going up and down stairs in soaking wet conditions with them, and they've been holding up really well. So yeah, they've really done me proud out there. It was really good. Give me a nice return when I needed it, and enough stability to go up and down the stairs with.
I imagine there's some people show up with their vapor flies or alpha flies and get to the
No,
top of the staircase and think, oh no.
it was the only race I've ever been in. I didn't see the alpha fly or the
Okay.
vapor. I think there wasn't many. There was a lot of trail shoes. I was actually, because I love my speed goats. I wear speed goats on all trail
Mhm.
races, and I was tempted to wear them, but I wore them in the mountain race last time, and I remember your feet after a lot of solid contact. Like if it does, you need a little bit of bounce back. So tested out them. I could have done me all right again.
There you go.
That surprises me a little bit about the grip on the Rocket X, because my one qualm with Hoka, and I'm a Hoka fan through and through, they don't feel like their rubber grabs very well on slick ground. So my reticency would be like, if it did rain at the Great Wall of China, would that grab the wet rock? And you're saying yes, it grabs stair, like it works well on wet terrain.
It probably wouldn't have done. But I knew the weather
Oh, okay,
forecast brought it out there. I used it over here and here we're talking about concrete slabs in the rain, which isn't that bad.
right.
I would have been in bank. I did take my goats with me. I had my speed goats with me in case it rained, but
Mm.
it didn't, because a lot of that's like a smooth rock. So I can
Mhm.
imagine if it was wet, I would have been gone.
Stuff's
So
thick.
yeah, but
Okay.
we weren't getting any rain. It was roasting hot. So yeah, the only water was me pouring it on top of my head off, just me dripping.
Was there a lot of water on course there that you could use?
Oh yeah, the water stations, they're unbelievable. It was so well organised. I think it was every 2 kilometres there's bottles of water given to you,
Oh, nice.
and it was. I basically had one in my hand the whole time. I'd use one, pour it on my head, drink a bit, obviously put a tablet in, just swap it out at each station. So yeah, there was more than enough water. I think a couple of stations I didn't even need to grab one.
Nice. So that's well supported. I would picture it
Uh,
being very remote, long distances between stations.
No, like I said, they do put a good. There's a lot of effort goes into it, and the logistics must be terrible. There was, like I said, 60 different countries coming in to do this race, and they got
Oh, wow.
everyone there, got everyone to their hotels, and so yeah, they're very good. It's a Danish company, but yeah, it was well organised.
Well, we won't
That's why
hold
you
that
pay.
against them.
That's why you got to pay the premium bucks, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there was gel. There was gels given out and stuff. I wouldn't take anything that I've not trained with, but they was giving out gels and stuff at certain places as well, or electrolytes.
You're painting a picture of race specific training, like teaching to the test, right? Like you have a race, you understand the race's demands, you execute the best you can in training to mimic race demands. It seems to be a big part of your strategy. I'm assuming that's been throughout your racing career, or was it only for this race specifically?
Oh no, massively. I've always done it. I'd get what the rules were on OCR, and I'd find out what the obstacles were, and I'd train range specific. So if I'm doing a short course, I'd train short course, and I'd find out what they were. And just for carries and stuff, like I'd get the brake bags up the stairs for OCR Worlds and stuff like that. Just you usually get 3 or 4 months before a big OCR, you get what the obstacles are, don't you? So I'd train in that sort of same way. I'd find out what the obstacles were. A lot of race specific training.
So I asked for a certain reason, and first of all, like, okay, so you're training to race demands, and that makes perfect sense, and that can help me understand why you're good, why you can perform. The other half of me is like, okay, there is hundreds of listeners saying, I've been running for 8 years too, and I haven't achieved the success that this guy has. Like, what is he doing that I'm not? And so my question is, were you always going to be like, why are you good? Other than specificity, right? Which is obvious that you trained to the test, which is you got to take credit for that, right? That matters. Like, why are you any good? You're 46. You shouldn't be any good. You've only been running for 8 years. You should be crap. It's too late. You're washed up. You missed the best years of your life. No way you should be good. Why are you good? That's what I want to know.
There's a lot of guys in the UK OCR scene that absolutely hated me, especially the younger guys, all like the Spartan pros and stuff, because I think the last race I ever done was the Spartan European Championship on home turf. I think I was like third Brit in that pro wave, and it really upset all the Spartan pros that were behind me. But I guess it comes to hard work. A lot of people do say I work harder than everyone else. I train harder, and I'll put more effort in during the race. So you won't see my heart rate below 170 at all for the whole race. There's no sort of. It just comes down just to hard work. If you're going to, some people train and they just don't put it in training. People I train with as well, you see them and they're going through the motions, they're doing the training, but they're not really pushing themselves. So I think a lot of it's desire and that willingness to work. If you really want to achieve something, no one's ever going to give it to you. You've got to go and take it, and that's a case of, I suppose, I've always had that chip on my shoulder as well, where you look down on sort of things. So you've got that working class sort of, right, I'm going to prove myself. So in some ways it's a blessing, sort of, that I've got that determination. So I'll always give it a little bit more than I've got. That's about all I can explain it, really.
Do you think if you find athletics early that you are that person that's just wired for this? Part of it is you've got a lot of energy to burn because you didn't waste it competing early. But do you think you were meant to be doing this and you just missed it early?
Yeah, massively. A lot of people say it to me because I got in trouble an awful lot when I was younger. And most of that was just I'd get bored easy or loads of energy. I got kicked out of school a couple of times. So it was always just, if I had something like this, yeah, it could have totally changed things. But then, like you said, I might have got a load of injuries as a youngster, and I wouldn't have had this later on. So there's no regrets. But yeah, if I'd found this earlier on, I could have. Yeah.
Well, you have to have special genetics if you had 2+ decades of heavy smoking and your lungs still function to this capacity. Whatever you're at now, it can't be what your lungs were meant to be doing. You're doing this at a reduced capacity.
My VO2 max is 62, so it's pretty good now.
Okay. Yeah.
Considering I wouldn't even likely think what it would have been like a few years ago. But there's no one in my family does any sports whatsoever. So I've got no. I think most of my family is still overweight as well. So there is no. I'm the outlier. Most of my family call me boring now that I'm not drinking all the time. Or I'm not doing this and that sort of stuff. So, and I'm not from a sporting background either.
And how's your wife handled this? Has she been all in on the transition, or did she not see it?
She's not really loving it too much, to be fair. She prefers the old drinking me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she prefers like going out and partying and all that sort of stuff. And it does take up a lot of time. It does. At the moment, she says I look too skinny. I've dropped too much weight, but I think all runners get told that, don't they? When they're running, you look too skinny. But yeah, she sort of dealt with it. But yeah, it's not. It's like I said, she does say that I've got more hyperactive now since I've been doing this than I was before. So if anything, it's maybe worse. But
you usually hear family members hoping and seeking change for others. You don't hear I liked you better when you were overweight and drinking a lot.
Yeah, it's the culture in Britain, in England. I get it now. We go to the pub, see some friends, and like obviously for 2 months before Great War, I won't drink. Like for not 2 months, about a month, I won't have any alcohol. just the last section of training, I won't be drinking. They're that's boring, you know. My friends just don't care. My friends from back in the day are still like, yeah, but you know, you might as well drink. You got too skinny now. You're too much obsessed with it. Obsession's a word that we all get told as well, isn't it?
Mhm.
Anyone that does it, any sort of training.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the sort of. I've got my running friends like so Chris and all that. They're all like on board. Oh, brilliant, well done. And then you got your friends that I had before, which are saying, oh, you know, you used to be such a laugh. We'd be out, you know, do this, and now you're going home because you're going for a run in the morning. You don't want to have a drink. So it's sort of mixing that balance up.
It's too
Do you miss
bad.
the old you?
No, not at all.
You
I can
don't
do
miss
that.
the old you?
I
Nothing
can
about
do it.
that blur.
I enjoy the parties. I still like to go out and have a blowout. After the after party in China, I got absolutely slaughtered and was doing tequila shots until the early hours in the morning. So it's still in there, but obviously I prefer the feeling of the competing and the being fit and being healthy and sort of just it's just that well, you know, the feeling that buzz of competing and being able to do stuff that you're proud of.
What about your kids? Have they started off with seeing dad, sloppy dad, we'll call you, meaning like I didn't prioritize health. Has that changed how they have made life decisions in regards to health?
I hope
Or
so,
no?
because that was the main reason I started to go on the weight loss journey and stuff, was the fact that my son was with me all the time, and what I'm portraying to him is it's good to eat, smoke, drink, and don't do nothing. So although he's not really into sports, he plays golf. He goes through stages. He's plays golf. He was going to the gym for quite a bit. My daughter is going to the gym a lot now, so it's definitely helped there, and I've helped her out. So, like she has some creatine now to help do it, and she works on the pro. So she's listening and she's going to the gym. So that's definitely a positive. But I suppose you can only have a certain amount of influence. They've got to find their own way. But hopefully, it has made a positive reflection on them rather than seeing what I was to what I am now.
Hmm.
So,
I'm gonna ask a personal question about you and your wife.
Yep.
Because I always get curious about this, and because you said her reaction hasn't been necessarily super like. It's a selfish endeavor, this endurance sports. It's not cheap to travel and race. OCR especially is not a cheap sport to get into.
No,
It's much
definitely
cheaper
not.
to go run your park runs and so you see this once in a while where like a partner adopts a new hobby or a habit. And the endurance space, I know many couples where one does it and one doesn't. Like the woman found it at 35 and the man not interested, or vice versa. Like, how do you navigate that? Like real talk me here. Like that has to be, you used to do all the things together and now you don't, and you're doing these things on your own with your new mates that are the runners. Like, is that tough? That has to be tough to navigate. And we don't need to go too far into it, but like, I can't imagine it's smooth.
No, it's not always smooth, but what you have to do, you have to try and get that balance. So I still do these things. So we're going away the weekend with some friends to Bodnik. We're going to Croatia for the weekend, but that's just going to be drinking. I'll take you with running shoes. I'll get a run out at some point, but it's not about. So I sort of get that balance. And while I've not got a big race on, I've got nothing coming up for a couple of months. So this month I go out partying. We're going out to some race day, and I go drinking. I just go back to my old me sort of thing. So I can't continually be that focused athlete. I have to pick and choose my battle sort of thing. So one little race, I won't do it properly for. If it's a big one, all right, I'm focused. You can moan as much as you want. I'm going to do it. I'm doing this, but then I'll do that other bit, like where we go out drinking, we go away for the weekend with friends, just general stuff that we've always done. So it's the same as anything. You just got to get that balance right.
Compromise.
Yeah,
The word, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. I was curious.
I do. I still, like I said, I still enjoy going out drinking and partying as well. So it's not like I'm doing something I don't like doing. It's just in the back of my mind, it's impacting what's coming up.
So what is coming up?
Coming up, I've got it's a wild running race in 2 weeks' time. It's called Dirty Rotten Scramble. I've done the 10K before. It's a 30K when I'm doing, which is basically 3 laps through lakes, rivers. It's just a good fun event. It's nothing huge. And in July, which I'm going to take a bit more seriously, it's called the Fan Dance. It's you ever seen SAS Who Dares Wins? Anything like that? Well, you know the SAS. The SAS have a selection run. They do it with a rucksack up and over the mountains, 24 kilometers. But the SAS soldiers that are left, they put on a race. And you can either do it with rucksack or without, just like normal trail kit. So I'm doing the trail kit race. So that's the next one I've got coming up. And then I've got my first ultra in end of August, which is sea to summit, from the sea to the top of Ben Nevis, which is the highest mountain in the UK. That's 30 miles, and I think that's about 2,000 or 3,000 feet elevation, meters, so 6,000 meters feet. So yeah, I've got a few coming up, but there's gaps in between where I can ease off, sort of thing. Still train, but just sort of mix it in a little bit.
I like the idea of going from I think novel is the right term, but maybe it's a little dismissive, but like from one novel event to another, right? I'm going to chase these big sort of nuanced races that are exciting because every time you show up, it's a new adventure. And it seems like that's what you've decided to chase, huh?
Yeah, this year I set my program out and it was like, wow, it looks good. I had a couple of early road races. I've done a few road races and a couple of trail races early on as tune-ups. I got a time I was after. I've done London Landmarks, half marathon, which is around central London. Really good. It's only a half marathon, but it's similar to London Marathon for the people coming out. I was after a time and I got that there. And so that's the end of my road stuff. And now I've had these like adventure ones coming up. And it's all sort of all exciting and new. So I'm quite looking forward to it. I'm like 30 miles to the top of a mountain. That sounds great fun.
The high rocks I saw on your profile, that was a one-off. I believe you were picked by default because somebody dropped. That's not something you're pursuing.
No, it's something I always took to me because back when I was doing OCR, I blamed massive decline in OCR on high rocks because people find they moved to high rocks and left OCR, but basically they've done that because it's so easy to train for high rocks. You can go in the gym in the winter, nice and warm, and do your little workouts. Whereas I'm running up and down the stairs in the pissing rain with a rec bag on my shoulders to get the OCR strength in. It was a case of we lost a lot of the OCR community to high rocks. I always sort of had a grudge against it. Plus, it's full of posers with their shirts off. And but yeah, that's what I thought anyway. I did do it, and I did enjoy it, to be fair. And there was some hardcore animals there, and it was pretty good. So I won't say never. And someone did actually ask me to join them in the doubles, and they've entered us in the ballot. So I don't know if we get in. I'll be doing that in November. So yeah, I won't say never because it was good fun.
Well,
have you guys done it?
Right?
Have you guys done the high rocks yet? Big fans?
You. I like it, but it's just very, very, very difficult and miserable. And I think it's tough to dabble in. You have to really do it if you want to do it very well. Whereas OCR, trail, mountain, you can be ready for them all at once. I feel like high rocks, it takes a certain level of preparation for that specifically to get what you want out of it. Doubles is a little different. I've done 4 doubles, and I've done that off 4 different types of training, and it's always fun. But the pro division is demanding.
Yeah, I like the trails too much. I think I'd get bored in there too often indoors. The views makes life easier, no matter how much it's hurting. If you can look up and you're seeing views, like last week, I'm climbing up these stairs, but I'm looking on the Great Wall of China, so it doesn't matter if I'm hurting. I'm just lucky to be there. So it's them things you're not going to beat. Going up the mountain or even the Wales mountains. I think I'm going to stick with the trails. I might have a go, see how these go with the ultras.
Might as well.
Once you dip your toes in, you usually stay. That's what I've noticed.
The only trouble with that is I've only got one. I attack everything. You can just about get away with it on a marathon, but I think as you get further, that's when it's going to call. I'm going to have to really rein in how I go about things.
We got just a few minutes left, so I want to ask one last question that I have, and then I'm very satisfied. And that is, what is your advice? If you could give any advice to those who are starting fresh, they're quitting a bad lifestyle and they've taken this up recently. They're not a spring chicken anymore, right? What's your best advice to somebody who's come to this later in life, let's say 30s or later? What do you think are the keys to your success to sticking with it and doing well?
Firstly, you've got to love it. You've got to enjoy what you're doing. Find something you enjoy doing first, and then it becomes easy, and then you can train to get better at doing what you enjoy. So for me, if I didn't like running to start with, I hated running, but I enjoyed the obstacle racing. I enjoyed the obstacles, but to get better at the obstacles, I'd done more of the running, and the more I'd done that to improve the bit I do like, I started to, I actually quite like running now. So my love of running's only been last 3 years. Before that, I'd run just to get good at the bit I enjoy, which was swinging about and stuff. So if you focus on what you enjoy and try the way you can improve what you enjoy, you'll find that you push yourself along because you're focusing on what you do enjoy, not the bits you don't. If that
What
makes
if you
sense.
don't like it? What if you don't like it and it's necessary for life? Like, a lot of people look in the mirror and are like, no, I got to do something, and this is a means to an end. Do you have any like discipline strategies or anything like that?
Yeah, well, again, you've got to look at the example you're setting to your family and stuff. You've got to look at it. Do you want your kids to grow up feeling like you are right now? So it's sort of every time you shove that cake in your neck or you light that fag up, your kid's watching that, and there's a good chance that they're going to do the same thing. But it goes back to, again, there's got to be something you might enjoy, even if it's some sort of walking or just walking a dog or something that you might enjoy will help. But I think ultimately you need that extra motivation of people watching you. You're setting an example here. You're basically causing them to have the same problems that you got by doing what you're doing. Gives you that extra bit of that was the original kicker for me. It was like, if I keep doing this, that's what I'm forcing my kids to do. They're gonna be in the same sort of situation. So it means a bit more than you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to stop them doing it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I like that.
So are you a big social media guy? It's time to direct people to your channels.
I haven't been so much recently because of I stopped doing the OCR. Just no one really wants to read about running and stuff. It was more. I'm on Instagram. It's Mark Dickson running now. It used to be OCR. Mark Dickson running, and just that's about it really.
You know, the relationship has changed when the Instagram handle changes.
Yeah, a friend of mine said the other day. He said, "Oh, I think you dropped the OCR." I was like, I really can't do put the OCR. I've not done one since 22. So I said, it's over. It's gone. It's just in the memories. But all my stuff's still on my Instagram anyway, all from my obstacle racing. And I've got some great memories. Like I said, at Abu Dhabi, Liwa Desert and stuff. I was in America, Poland, Canada, Italy. I've raced some good places. So yeah, have a look at some of my stuff on there. It doesn't go. My Facebook goes further back, but it doesn't go right the way back to my heavy days. But it's got from my start of obstacle racing and right the way through. You can see my progression. I wasn't coming out of. People go, "Oh, was you in the military?" No. Was you a sportsman before? I was like, no, I was just a regular Joe. So it's just hard work and enjoyment of it, really. So yeah, Mark Dickson running. Have a look if you want to. Loads on there. It's open to anyone.
Well, Keep kicking the younger guys' butts, all right? That's my sole mission now for the next decade, is to just make young guys feel pathetic
I
because
love
an
that.
older guy's beating them, okay? I want to crush all those young bravado men out there who think they're the shit and they're just not. So you keep fighting the good fight over there, all right, Mark?
Thank
I'll
you.
do the same. We can fist bump over the big pond. How's that sound?
Yes, it. 40's the one. Well done.
That's all we got, I think, right, Bracken? We good?
We're great. Got two stunning bald men on this podcast. This is a good day.
Yeah.
He's got more hair than you do. You can't call it. You're not bald yet,
dunno.
Mark. You're hanging on.
No, I'm not. That's
See?
gone, mate. It's well gone. That ship sailed a long time ago. I'd go the full shave, but the wife says, no, leave a little bit. So I leave a little bit. But no, thanks, guys. It's been good talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Yeah, great chat, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
See you, Mark.
See ya.